Pranams to all of you. As you all know, the great Sri Ramakrishna was a very simple, enlightened sage, not very much educated in the literal sense, but his stories, his simple way of living, his very, very deep spirituality, all this brought in hundreds and thousands of people to him. Just to be in his presence, just to listen to his simple and lovely stories. So this is yet another one. So this is a story about a poisonous serpent, a king cobra, who was living in a hole in a village. And whoever passes that way, this king cobra, this serpent would jump at them, and almost everybody bite them. This guy was a ferocious guy. He didn't want anybody near his home or anywhere near his place. So he would invariably bite everyone. And many of them died, most of them were injured, and the villagers were very, very concerned. What should we do with this snake? And once there was a great sage passing through that village. And all of them met the great sage. The villagers met the great sage and told him about the snake and what it is doing to other people. And so the snake was very ferocious and poisonous, it bites everyone and so on. The whole story. The sage listened to all that about that serpent, and he walked towards the hole where the serpent was living. And the serpent came out thinking that it was another passerby, and the moment it saw the sage, looked at the sage, was in the presence of the sage, something happened to the snake. It became calm and quiet. And the sage looked at the snake and said, I heard that you are injured a lot of people. You've bitten a lot of people. Many of them have died because of your bite. Is that true? And the snake put its head down in shame and didn't say anything, because that was a fact. And so the sage said, you see how many people you have hurt? From today on, it's my request, please do not hurt anyone. Take care you don't bite anyone. Be a good snake. And the sage went his way. And so the snake, having listened to the advice of the sage and coming from the sage, it went straight to the heart. And from that day onwards, the snake never harmed anyone, never hurt anyone. And some days passed, the villagers started thinking that the snake had lost all its venom. It has become harmless, quiet. And you know what they did? And because they noticed that the snake did not hurt them or harm them in any way, they started torturing the snake. They threw stones at the snake. They pulled its tail and swung around. They threw the snake around. And day after day after day. And the sage had told the snake not to hurt anybody. And the snake was, behaving exactly what the sage had asked the snake to do. So the sage, the words of the sage, the powerful words of the sage was acting on the snake. So the more these villagers hurt the snake thought, no, I will not hit them back. I will not hurt them because the sage had told so. And this went on and on and on. And after some time, the great sage was coming back and passing through the same village. And on the way back, as he was going through the village, he suddenly remembered the snake. So he went to the hole of the snake and looked at the snake, and he was taken aback. The snake was thin, lean, emaciated, bruised and hurt all over and bleeding. And the sage was really concerned and looked at the snake and said, "My dear friend, what happened?" And the snake told all the story, what the villagers did. Since the day the sage had advised the snake not to hurt anybody, it was behaving as was intended by the sage. But the villagers took advantage of the snake's calmness and quietness, and they tortured, hurt the snake. The result, the snake was bleeding all over, bruised and hurt and weak. And the snake looked at the sage and said, "Sir, look at my condition. This is what has happened after I listened to your advice." And the sage listened to all that, and with a beautiful smile, he looked at the snake and said, "Oh, my dear friend, I only told you not to hurt anyone. I only told you not to harm anyone. But did I tell you not to hiss? Did I tell you not to frighten them? Don't harm them, but at the same time, don't allow others to hurt you. That's what I meant." You see, it's a beautiful story. It's very simple. The great Sri Ramakrishna has a style of telling simple stories. Now, what does this convey? Yeah, don't hurt another human being. Don't harm another human being. Physically, emotionally, mentally, or what have you. But at the same time, don't allow anyone else to hurt you or harm you or take you for a ride. Don't allow others to use you as a doormat. Don't allow others to take you for a ride. When you know yourself, when you have understood your own self, right from the physical to the higher dimensions of your life, the more you know yourself, the more you understand yourself, the more you will know and understand others. And so because of your self-knowing and understanding, you will never allow another to dominate you, to control you, to have authority over you. Right? Because you are your own teacher. You are your own authority. When I say you, when I say the self, I don't mean obviously, I don't mean the small little me. Who you really are. what you really are. So the more you know yourself, the more you understand yourself, the less you will be afraid of others, afraid of anything. The fear would slowly, gradually, over a period of time, dissolve. So what does this story tell us? Don't hurt another. Don't harm another. At the same time, don't allow anyone else to harm you or hurt you. Maintain your being, posture, maintain who you really are. Not with effort, but naturally. This is the beauty of knowing and understanding yourself. Everything becomes natural. That's true. So the great Sri Ramakrishna used to convey, higher truths and facts of life and the universe through simple stories. He never used philosophy. He never used big words. Simple. So even a layman can understand. Even an ordinary villager can easily understand the very depth of Sri Ramakrishna's stories. So, this is one such lovely story, and there are many. Other stories will follow. Okay? Thank you so much. Pranam.